Welcome to our channel. Please like and subscribe.
25 Polish phrases you'll hear every day, and what they actually mean. If you've ever tried listening to real Polish conversations, you probably noticed something almost immediately. Native speakers do not sound anything like language apps. The words seem faster, shorter, more emotional. And sometimes, the literal translation makes absolutely no sense at all. You study Polish carefully, but then someone casually says something in real life, and suddenly your brain completely freezes. Because understanding a language is not only about vocabulary. It's about understanding how people actually communicate. The expressions, the reactions, the tiny everyday phrases people repeat constantly without even thinking about them. And today, you're going to learn 25 extremely common Polish phrases that native speakers use every single day. Not textbook Polish, real conversational Polish. And more importantly, you'll learn what these phrases actually mean in real situations. So relax, slow down, and let's train your ears to sound more natural in Polish. No cześć, which in English means hey or oh, hi. Repeat it naturally. No cześć, which in English means hey. This is a very casual greeting. You'll hear it constantly among friends. Co tam, which in English means what's up. Repeat it. Co tam, which in English means what's up. This is one of the most common casual conversation starters in Poland. W porządku, which in English means it's okay or all right. Repeat slowly. W porządku, which in English means it's okay. Native speakers use this constantly. Nie ma sprawy, which in English means no problem. Repeat it naturally. Nie ma sprawy, which in English means no problem. You'll hear this after thanking someone. Daj spokój, which in English means come on or give me a break. Repeat emotionally. Daj spokój, which in English means come on. This phrase can sound playful, frustrated, or dramatic depending on the situation. Naprawdę, which in English means really? Repeat it surprised. Naprawdę, which in English means really? Native speakers use emotional reactions constantly. Nie wiem, which in English means I don't know. Repeat slowly. Nie wiem, which in English means I don't know. You will hear this every single day in Polish conversations. Wmyk. Zaraz wracam, which in English means I'll be right back. Repeat naturally. Zaraz wracam, which in English means I'll be right back. A super useful everyday phrase. Chwilę życiem, which in English means zaraz krześ, which in English means I'll be right back. Now this bid, zaraz wracam. Spóźnienie. Zaraz wracam, which in English means I'll be right back. A super useful everyday phrase. Now this bid, zaraz wracam. Chwilę życiem, which in English means I never curt the rivel of the discussing is really well. Gem the word truth to the gar and clickly share. Zaraz wracam, which in English means I'll be right back. One moment. Repeat it. Chwileczkę, which in English means one moment. You'll hear this in stores, cafes, and everyday interactions. Masz rację, which in English means zaraz wracam. You're right. Repeat slowly. Masz rację, which in English means you're right. This phrase instantly makes conversations sound more natural. Dokładnie, which in English means exactly. Repeat naturally. Dokładnie, which in English means exactly. Polish speakers use this constantly during conversations. Zaraz rację, which in English means exactly. Repeat naturally, which in English means exactly. Not over, problemy. Masz rację, which in English means exactly. Polish speakers use this constantly during conversations. No English, masz rację, which in English means exactly. Polish speakers use this constantly. Gem the word if you go back to wait a man and to share if you want the date of them complete your day together. Gem the word you definitely connect the bottoms due to which completers anyone breakers to use. Now the bid prove any completers they're coming up. Polish speakers, children. Zależy, which in English means it depends. Repeat it. To zależy, which in English means it depends. A very useful phrase for real conversations.
Już idę, which in English means I'm coming. Repeat slowly. Już idę, which in English means I'm coming. Parents, friends, and co-workers say this all the time. Phrase 14. Struk semym komsiście. Cznaplet phrase 7. Myntem i siezne. Parents, friends, and co-workers say this all the time. Parents, friends, and co-workers. Pi problem. Stamnacz czy zecznie, wnacie wam. Parents 14, lec powiel wnierowna siebie, wynikuje lik 13. Phrase 14. Nie szkodzi, which in English means it doesn't matter or no worries. Repeat naturally. Nie szkodzi, which in English means no worries. This helps conversations feel softer and friendlier. Bez sensu, which in English means that makes no sense. Repeat emotionally. Bez sensu, which in English means that makes no sense. Very common in casual speech. Tak sobie, which in English means so-so or not great. Repeat it. Tak sobie, which in English means so-so. You'll hear this often when someone asks how things are going. Nieźle, which in English means not bad. Repeat naturally. Nieźle, which in English means not bad. Short, simple, and very common. No co zjeście? O co bezczesznie? Jeśle. Szef go więc komprzeście. Il popnawy do, o co prowadziła w dam. Lec powiedzie. Przedziemy. O co wie? Lec powiedzie, w dywancamim komprzeście. Przedzie. Psiebówię z komprzeście jest powiedzienie kolikonegoc ważnie ad krytmów do wlen. Żebiłać. O co chodzi? Which in English means what's going on? Repeat slowly. O co chodzi? Which in English means what's going on? A super common conversational phrase. Już wiem. Which in English means now I understand. o now I know. Repeated. Już wiem. Which in English means now I know. Very useful during conversations and learning. Spokojnie. Что продавdzie zakis jest w pokojnie. Że siedemcze. Which in English means no jezne. Very useful during conversations and learning. W pokojnie. Which in English means now I know. Very useful during conversations and learning. Spokojnie. Spokojnie. Jest bowiem natywlego wybudaćnie wiek spirt wsze igle w kowedzięc. Szczepowiedzie. To prosto by wydućnie i zgrociał flewy, naby się godzić te tczywić nadów manszim, by odsprowadziele odwanym w krzet krydy. W spokojnie. Odpowiedzie. Which in English means relax or calm down. Repeat naturally. Spokojnie. Which in English means relax. Native speakers use this constantly in emotional conversations. Nie wierzę. Which in English means I can't believe it. Repeat emotionally. Nie wierzę. Which in English means I can't believe it. This phrase carries strong emotion. Storne. Od spokojnie. Spokojnie. Which in English means nojeżne. Spokojnie. Which in English means not bad. Repeat naturally. Nie wierzę. Nie wierzę. Więc spokojnie. Spokojnie. Which in English means not bad. Nie wierzę. Jeszcze zobaczymy. Which in English means we'll see. Repeat slowly. Jeszcze zobaczymy. Which in English means we'll see. A very natural everyday phrase. Što prodabdzie? Że domyng, żeści będzie naduplitnie. Spokojnie. Što prowadziele mylnoją tego jany prawlem i wywolie wczelengo predkledy. Dzierówę. Przebodzie nałaj admaćmy rzewka. Wybuje. Dzieliśnie. Że domym naczurze byłany podocałennie prawdamym wydonie. Nie da zbyrwim dziemy przy dorze zaprowadzić niegodzie myżlewa nieprospób i mośnanego ringucz wszydzienia. Spokojnie. Że domym naćna, że w kawidziemy do burdzie, zapowiedzie sprowadziś wysprowne. Spokojnie. Which in English means nowie. Zapowiedzie sprowadzie legetnym zeboznatom o will see. Werymems w nim apowiedziest przydzienie. Werymems wiecie. W sumie, which in English means actually or when you think about it. Repeat naturally. W sumie, which in English means actually. This phrase gives speakers time to think naturally. W to męcznie gome, nie naturally. Że domym naćna zapowiedzie sprobadziele problemym zapowiedzie. Repeat naturally. Repeat naturally. Zapowiedzie. Sumie. W sumie. Wybędzie bowiem nagodym cię da prociło flekto, która dziś i literę wczyliście mi. Actually. This phrase gives speakers time to think naturally. Repeat naturally. This phrase gives speakers time to think naturally. W sumie. Which in English means actually. This phrase gives speakers time to think naturally. Repeat naturally. Że domym nacznak zapowiedzie sprobedziś i litora wciliści mi. w sumie, which in English means actually. To korze gowodzie nocu dzieniem ego ringu czwrzydzienie. Što powiedzie? Chciebienie. Wieczcze, że na przedwiędzie powiedzie strobe dziś prowedziś zapowiedzie.
Jak leci?
which in English means, how's it going?
Repeat it. Jak leci?
Which in English means, how's it going? A super casual greeting among friends. Which in Millings, Eleshi.
Uzmeksa, if you don't trying it, how the trials to Aviva, if you couldn't listen to the event. You're really of speaking the credit. A greet interested this is really letter and letter. Jak leci?
Which in English means,
Do zobaczenia.
which in English means,
See you later. Repeat slowly. Do zobaczenia.
which in English means,
See you later. One of the most useful closing phrases in Polish. Now let's hear some of these phrases inside a real conversation. Listen carefully. No, cześć, co tam?
which in English means,
Hey, what's up? W porządku. A u ciebie?
which in English means,
All right. And you? Tak sobie, jestem trochę zmęczony.
which in English means,
So, I'm a little tired. Naprawdę?
which in English means,
Really? Tak, ale nie szkodzi.
which in English means,
Yeah, but it's okay. Spokojnie, weekend już blisko.
which in English means,
Relax, the weekend is already close. Excellent. Now again, more naturally. No, cześć, co tam?
which in English means,
Hey, what's up? W porządku. A u ciebie?
which in English means,
All right. And you? Tak sobie, jestem trochę zmęczony.
which in English means,
So, I'm a little tired. Naprawdę?
which in English means,
Really? Tak, ale nie szkodzi.
which in English means,
Yeah, but it's okay. Spokojnie, weekend już blisko.
which in English means,
Relax, the weekend is already close. Very good. Here's something important. Fluent speakers do not sound natural because they know complicated grammar. They sound natural because they use small conversational phrases automatically. These tiny expressions are everywhere. They create rhythm, emotion, flow, and the more you hear them, the more natural Polish begins to feel. At first, these phrases may seem small, but together, they form the foundation of real conversations. Let's think you can see that you can self-hear information. Let's go to the little Polish into the information when you create it the less of subscribes with the protray up the years that really special with Polish within the game. Now, these phrases gives him point of cast. Let's go ahead a chapter the subject, the gentle. Let's go ahead a chapter the subject, which in English means this is the most possible of chime that changes they mation to feet. Let's see that we peer the demandment that chaking friends that they do know. Let's go ahead a chapter the subject that changes well as effect that they fear in the benefit canter versions. Let's go ahead a chapter the subject. You're really instantly quickly. The operating to see that friends that they to pose them up review some of the most important phrases one more time. No cześć, which in English means, Hey. Co tam? Which in English means, What's up? Nie ma sprawy, which in English means no problem. Naprawdę? Which in English means really? Dokładnie, which in English means exactly. Spokojnie, which in English means relax. Nie wierzę, which in English means I can't believe it. Do zobaczenia, which in English means see you later. Excellent. Now breathe slowly, relax your shoulders, and remember, every time you hear real Polish conversations, your brain is slowly building familiarity with the rhythm of the language. Little by little, these phrases will stop sounding unfamiliar, and one day, without even realizing it, you'll hear someone casually say, "Co tam?" which in English means, "What's up?" And instead of translating in your head, you'll instantly understand it naturally. And maybe next time you hear Polish people talking around you, instead of feeling overwhelmed, you'll quietly smile, recognize another familiar phrase, and keep listening just a little bit longer.
That was excellent. Please like and subscribe for daily lessons. See you next time.